And then something happened with Ciarrai. And for the first time they said, let's ask questions about the dubs. Let's stop allowing the dubs. If you sit back and give them the kick-outs, give them the sweeper, give them the extra man, let them play in their terms, let them play in the front foot like last year's Ireland, Dublin destroy it. So for the last 11 minutes, what did they do? They pushed up on the kick-out, they contested everything, they asked questions of dubs, they ran at the dubs. And it wasn't just one-trick pony stuff sometimes into the high ball, you know, where Gainey is having an absolutely superb game. Donny came out the field, Gooch came out the field, it's cute, and also Paul Murphy man-marking Kieran Kilkenny, who was the man of the match. So the last 10 minutes, 12 minutes, from a Kerry point of view, 2 goals and 3 points to no score. It was superb. But they're at least, these lads, I asked one question, sorry Joe, I asked one question of Kerry at the start of the game, that unlike last year, that they come off the field saying, we took the game to the Dubs. For the last 12 minutes, they took the game to the Dubs. We thought, Kieran Whelan, that right now we'd be sitting here talking about A, Dublin in the All-Ireland final against Mayo, and B, whatever happened to Kerry football. Absolutely, Michael. It's not good for the out-ticker. I think you're the safest in that regard. But that last 11 minutes obviously has asked Dublin serious questions. But listen, it's like we said before the game. They had to break the game down nearly into quarters. They didn't press the kick out at the start. They wanted to settle into this game to put Aidan O'Mahony back. But then they didn't just press up the kick outs. They put 12 men up with the kick outs and they left the Dublin forwards back here, the hands up in the air. And that was pre-planned. That was breaking down the game into quarters, saying at a particular point in time, that's what we're going to do, and we're going to rattle those. People were expecting to do it in the first 5-10 minutes. They didn't do that. And that is the biggest... if you do something in training, if you're working on something in training, and it comes off, all of a sudden, the energy and the belief that players get from that, they say, do you know what? This now is working. This has worked. And for the last 11 minutes, I'd say Jim Gavin is delighted to get the lads into the dressing room because Dublin were on the ropes there. Oh, they were. They get in now, they're only 5 points down, they're not out.
Kerry were so hesitant to start with, and you could see they were playing with fear. And Dublin were strolling, but they were strolling, they weren't in high gear. There's not much happening inside for Dublin. Bernard Brogan's ineffectual. And yet Dublin were turning over all the Kerry kickouts. The catalyst was a disastrous kickout. I'm not sure what Stephen was thinking of, because when everybody's covered there, you don't kick a short one, you kick it long, because they were doing very well in the middle of the field. And that was the catalyst. And as Kieran says, you could feel the energy surging through the Kerry boys. Colin Cooper remembering that he's one of the greatest players to play the game. Gainey, of course, has been excellent all through. He's just a pure, cool poacher. But I mean, there it is now. In Dublin now this has been the biggest test ever, because Kerry are not the type of team to give up 5-point leads.
That Kieran, as Joe was saying, you know, you can talk about tactics up and down the field, but it was a kick out from Stephen Thompson that got you into trouble.
Yeah, but it was, as I said, it was a particular point in the game, and you see now when you look at it from behind the goal, you see that Kerry left a couple of the Dublin forwards. They were, you know, see a goal short. Obviously it's in, and they're in a great position, and it's a great little flick by Donegal Walsh, ball to the back of the net. But when you look at it from behind the goal, you've three Dublin forwards left isolated. You've 12 lads. They pushed up. You have to say, you have to give Fitzmaurice huge credit tactically, because you know that put them under significant pressure.
You say that now, Kieran, but if Fluxon had kicked that ball long, none of this would have happened. But the consequence of that was, but John, I want to say, the consequence of that was that his kick-out collapsed. The next kick-out was on the sideline. The next kick-out was
Fitzmaurice has sat down and he saw in the Donegal game, he saw Cluxon popping balls to that corner. Perhaps. He's done it a few times this year, and I'd say the new.
That wasn't Stephen Talent.
Final, that issue hopefully will be resolved after the break.
But one of the bits of advice he gave to me was that you can never rehearse a commentary on a football match or a horse race or anything like that, but you can get the flow of it, and the best place to rehearse is in the bath. So I used to have a bath and have football matches up and down the bath. What it was like to anybody who would happen to hear it, I don't know. They probably thought he's really gone.
Really?
But this was, it really and truly was a help to get a flow a flow of conversation.
Yes, which proves that you're the most hygienic commentator.
Thank you very much.
Everything else. Well, in fact, the earliest recording that we were able to find of you, which is still in the archives down in the cellars, I think dates from 1947. Perhaps you have better knowledge of it. But I have it here on tape. And this, in fact, is on tape now. But we had to transfer it from disc Remember those roundy things, you know, and it played from the inside out to the... That's how long ago it is. So maybe you can identify and listen to it.
No.
The quality is appalling.
Of the commentary.
The quality.
Oh, sorry.
50 for Kerry. Giga is waving and waving and waving over to the sideline, and he's gone down again. The 50 taken by Teddy O'Connor. Giga jumped up to the ball, he has it. He's bundled his way past 3 men. And the referee blows his whistle and awards a hop. And from the hop, Dowling gets it and sends the ball over the bar for another Kerry point. '20s and '30s, the games boomed. Newspapers which once had given them 1 or 2 short paragraphs now began to devote whole pages to the reporting of the games. At All-Ireland final after All-Ireland final, new records were set for attendances. Even during the years of the Second World War, the GAA remained strong. The continued power and influence of this great national organisation seemed assured. And yet, a change was taking place. A new Ireland was being born. But unlike 40 years ago, this birth was quiet and almost unnoticed. Yet the changes it brought were probably as far-reaching, certainly for the GAA, which saw the last days of its greatness in the 50s. It was in Dublin that this greatness was most apparent, culminating in a great All-Ireland victory in 1958.
In the beginning, a spark, a seed, a belief, truth. And in this truth, your life is shaped. What is in you? With everything you know to be true. Believe and be there. And show the world that it all.
Welcome back to Croke Park. Just a reminder of the half-time scoreline in this All-Ireland football semi-final. Kerry leading Dublin by 2 goals and 8 points to 9 points. And certainly the full house here in Croke Park today, gentlemen, are enjoying what they've seen so far. The first Kerry goal was a tonic. The second Kerry goal was a big talking point.
It looked like a goal, all right. I mean, the umpire's immediate reaction was to move the flag, and you'd have to say he was in a brilliant position in this where we would probably need goal line technology, but just watch the umpire. Here, look where he comes to. Perfect. And he's in no doubt whatsoever.
You got to feel his position is right. It's inconclusive, very hard to tell whether the full ball is over the line. You know.
I think while the picture was Michael, you will have to say the positioning of the umpire on the goal line was absolutely excellent. So he must have been convinced. But you know, we were in this position last year about Stephen Cluxton. You go trace your mind back to the drawn game against Mayo when Mayo pushed up in Cluxton's kickouts, and not only did Cluxton's kickouts go bad, but Cluxton suffers meltdown, and when Cluxton goes into meltdown, that meltdown seems to permeate through the whole team. Because when Cluxton is confident and finding his man, Dublin play with a confidence
rhythm, you know.
When Cluxton is lacking confidence.
What do you say to that?
Well, what
he's agreeing with what he wants to say.
Yeah, like he made a mistake on the kick out. He said he went short to the corner, but Kerry obviously put them under pressure, and that's gives them energy. I think the crowds feed off that. It's been a huge part of the Dublin Kerry games for the last few years. They've been the one team that have caused Dublin trouble on their kick out. And as I said before the game, Dublin got 111 of their scores against Donegal from kick outs. So a lot of the scores originate from kick outs. But the other fact, the other point I will make, Michael, is that the Kerry kick out Kerry are struggling on their own kick out.
Very much.
3 Dublin points came from their own kick out. And when Brian Kelly's putting the ball down, the movement, they have an extra man back there, the movement was pretty poor, I have to say.
There's a huge psychological pressure on someone like Stephen Cluxton because he is the man. Everyone talks about him. He's a cult figure in Dublin and he's a team leader. So there's a huge psychological pressure. And when it's stripped away, he looked so self-conscious out there after the first goal. And you do feel sorry for the man.
But let's also make a point.
It's such a public implosion.
Let's also make a point though that who's missing from last year? Number 3, The Rock. Rory O'Connell, a superb fullback. Would he have been manning the square for the first one possibly? Would he be comfortable under the high
I'm not
point?
sure anything
So
can be done.
we just have to say Davy Burton, a rookie, inexperienced. Paul Ganey has taken him for 1 goal and 3 points. And you would have to say that in general, when the ball comes in, that Kerry full forward line, that Kerry full forward line has the safety of the Dublin full back line.
This was the question about the Dublin team, was the full back line. Now, for most of the way through the championship, we didn't see any chinks there, but maybe we're just starting to see it today.
We saw a couple of chinks against Laois. I'm not too sure, like the long ball that's gone in, Dublin have dealt with it
very well.
Fairly well. They're comfortable in there. Like, I would look at the other end of the field from a Dublin perspective. You know, the likes of Kilkenny, Murphy's doing a good job on him. We've got, you know, Dermot Conley's got to come into it. You know, Bernard's got to come into it. I'm sure we'll see Paul Mannion, Paddy Andrews introduced in the second half. Dublin's forward line has to start clicking. I still think they have that little bit of extra pace in that middle third, which could get them back into this game.
Coming up later in the programme, we will be giving you the chance to enter our big Sunday game competition. You might be heading off to New York, but right now, though, it's time to hand you back to the commentary box to Darren Maloney and Martin Carney.
There's only one place to be, Michael, for the next 35 minutes as Jim Gavin takes his place down at the sideline, and there are no changes to either team for the second half. James McCarthy is back out. Kerry have their 2 goals. Dublin haven't scored since the 24th minute, and now it's David Moran who's just held up John Small as a yellow card against him. Kieran Kilkenny. Paul Murphy did a brilliant job on him, and he's not